Is your phone's operating system secretly making you feel unhappy? I spent weeks researching the psychology behind each operating system. Understanding the way Android and iPhone influence our brain can reveal why you might want to stick with one operating system and never want to switch. It's not just about features. It's about how these designs impact your thinking and decision making. And it boils down to 3 questions. Imagine typing on a glass window with nothing but silent taps. Now, think of writing on an old-fashioned typewriter. Each keystroke is met with a satisfying click, a small pushback that tells you you've done something. Without that, typing would feel like sending thoughts into a void. This is what Apple and Android understands very well. Even though you're using a screen, it feels like you're touching something real. Turns out, it can impact a user's psychological state and actions. Vibrations that come with alerts can boost how well people perform related tasks, such as getting more exercise, drinking more water, getting more sleep, when alert messages were accompanied by tactile signals than when it was purely auditory. This improvement happens because these alerts make users feel more connected and engaged, turning what might feel like a cold, technology-driven interaction into a warmer, more social experience. It's what they call haptic feedback. Haptics make things feel real, like when you press on a button or type on a keyboard. But it's not the only thing that matters. The next thing I'm about to tell you is very important and can make or break our phone experiences. Imagine you are juggling. If you're juggling one ball, it gets boring pretty quickly. If you add more balls, it makes juggling more fun, but it also gets harder to keep them all up in the air. Let's take a look at iOS and Android while this dude juggles, and we'll throw a new ball to him every 5 seconds. As we know, the Android design system offers lots of customizability. For instance, the widget option is endless, giving users autonomy to switch up their interface however they'd like. Though, this comes at a cost. It takes mental energy to process all of the widget options and make decisions. iOS, on the other hand, focuses on simplicity, consistency, and a more plug-and-play experience. This simple design makes your brain less busy because there are fewer elements to process. So how have tech companies reduced mental energy in their designs? One way is through progressive disclosure. Chances are you've used the Reminders app on the iPhone. In order to not overwhelm users, iOS displays content in 3 stages. First, when you type the reminder, you just see this, a blank space that holds your reminder content. Only until you click on the info icon do you see additional information, and only until you toggle date do you see a calendar. On Android, progressive disclosure is seen in the notification panel. When you swipe down for the first time, you only see the most important quick toggles and messages. But when you swipe down again, you see an expanded menu. Information is progressively disclosed 1 bit at a time. Too much information can overwhelm the users. As you can see, it's gotten pretty hard to juggle for the poor guy. He needs to focus on too many juggling balls. This is what we call cognitive load. Easy on the eyes, easy on the brain. But these aren't the only things shaping how we feel about our phones. Let's compare phone operating systems. Which is better? Well, it might depend on the user's culture. Here's why. Western countries like the US or Germany have low context cultures. Here, people tend to communicate in a way that's direct, to the point, and explicit. Imagine you had a neighbor who likes to play piano at 2 a.m. every single night, keeping you awake. You would knock at their door and say, "Please be quiet, I'm trying to sleep." On the other hand, Asian countries like India, China, and Japan have high context cultures. People here communicate in ways that are more nuanced and implicit. Your neighbor plays piano at 2 a.m. every night. You might actually wait till the next day when you bump into them at a grocery store, and you would approach them and say, "Hey, you play piano really well." You say this compliment, when in reality, you just want them to shut the f*** up. Your high context neighbor would still get the cue and stop playing piano. Turns out, this communication difference impacts design. In a high context culture, it's actually okay if a screen looked like this. This is Alipay, a popular payment app used in China. It's essentially a super app. Lots of features, cluttered interface, but highly functional. What Western users might deem as cluttered design Eastern users see it as having lots of detailed information and a high sense of transparency. Thus, they would deem it as more trustworthy. It is reassuring to know that you've got all of these options right at your fingertips. Apple's minimalist and polished design is seen as elegant and calming, while Android's flexible, customizable interface is seen as empowering and creative. Ultimately, it's not just about what a phone can do, but also how it feels, looks, and how it all comes together to create satisfying experiences, or not. This is what we call perception and aesthetics. So, who's happier? Android or iPhone users? Each OS has their pros and cons, but I've come to a conclusion. That there is no conclusion. I know it's unsatisfying, but it's the truth. It all depends on our unique preferences. What fits you might not work for another person. But if you really want to know more, you'll want to check out this video that breaks down community software design. And with that, until next time.